We have Attorney Joel Butuyan, ICC-accredited lawyer and president of Center Law, now joining us. Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Matters.
Good morning, Gretchen, and thanks for having me again.
Okay, Attorney Butuyan, the ICC pretrial chamber has reaffirmed its jurisdiction over this case. Is this the final decision regarding the issue of jurisdiction? What does this mean for the prosecution and for the victims?
It is such a welcome news for the victims of the drug war, Gretchen, that they woke up to find out that the ICC has ruled on the issue of jurisdiction, and they have ruled in favor of the continuing jurisdiction of the ICC over the case of President Duterte. And it was a unanimous decision by the three judges, and the three judges actually examined each word, even the context and the purpose of the Rome Statute, which is the constitution of the ICC. And in all points, they actually affirmed that the ICC has continuing jurisdiction over the former president.
It did note, though, that the preliminary examination began before the withdrawal of the Philippines in 2019, which was in 2018. Do you recall what triggered that preliminary examination? Meron po bang nag-file noong 2018?
Marami yung nag-file noong 2018, Gretchen, no? But even outside the filings, because these are actually information provided by civil society and certain individuals, the ICC prosecutor herself at the time, Ms. Fatou Bensouda, was already examining news articles that were coming out of the Philippines, no? Because everything that was going on in the Philippines starting in 2016 were publicized, nationally and internationally, and they were actually started gathering all this information, and they were examining already, So they had formally preliminary examined the events in the Philippines, even outside of the filings of certain organizations and individuals.
But if you're just starting to gather evidence outside of the filings, does that mean that any informal gathering of information could trigger or could somehow say na we have begun investigating?
It was not actually an informal investigation or examination, Gretchen, because the ICC prosecutor was even enlisting the assistance and help of various UN agencies, And it was there were procedures that it had to go through. So, and under the Rome Statute, the wording is that any matter under consideration of the court, which includes the ICC prosecutor, would vest jurisdiction in the ICC even after a country withdraws from the ICC.
And how, apart from that yung preliminary investigation or preliminary examination in 2018, how else did the ICC justify their reaffirmation of their jurisdiction on this case?
There were actually at least three grounds that were cited by the pretrial chamber, Gretchen. First one is the one that we just discussed, which is that the preliminary examination happened before the Philippine withdrawal. The second reason is that the Philippines itself actually recognized the continuing jurisdiction of the ICC even after its withdrawal, as demonstrated by the fact that the Philippines itself requested for a postponement of the ongoing ICC investigation. And then second, by surrendering Mr. Duterte to the ICC pursuant to an ICC warrant of arrest, So this incident proved that the Philippines itself recognized the continuing jurisdiction of the ICC even after its withdrawal, And the third reason is that the ICC pretrial chamber cited the very purpose of the setting up of the ICC, which is to address and prosecute the most heinous, the most serious crimes committed against humanity. And this cannot be avoided or evaded by any country which is a member by purposely withdrawing from the ICC to escape liability. And the pretrial chamber said that that was practically what the Philippines did, no, under Mr. Duterte. It withdrew its membership in the ICC with a specific purpose and clear intent to avoid prosecution for crimes committed during the time that the Philippines was a member of the ICC.
On the second point, no, yung binanggit po ninyo na yung the Philippines itself has requested postponement, no, of the decision or on the case, and the second one is that we handed over the former president in response to an arrest warrant. Does this mean or indicate somehow that the Philippine government has complied or cooperated with the ICC?
No, that the Philippines actually was cooperating, no, on the premise that the ICC has jurisdiction over the Philippines for crimes committed while the Philippines was still a member.
So understated lang, pero yung actions are saying, even if we say in public pronouncements, the Philippine government says in public pronouncements that we will not cooperate. But on the other hand, these actions speak of another thing.
Yes, kumbaga action speaks louder than words. Yun yung logic ng pre-trial chamber decision, Gretchen.
I do recall also that the defense argued for the former president that yung investigation was open 2 years after the Philippines withdrawal became fully effective. What was the response to that?
Well, the ICC actually discussed that the proceedings before the prosecutor, no, consist of 2 stages. Number 1 is the preliminary examination stage, no, and the second one is the preliminary investigation stage, which requires an authority from the pre-trial chamber. And the court actually examined the very wordings of the Rome Statute and found out that even the preliminary examination stage is already an incident that would comply with any matter under consideration of the court cannot be affected by a subsequent withdrawal by any member country.
And what do you think does this mean for other cases moving forward?
Well, this means that the 8 co-perpetrators who are unnamed in the documents containing charges, the investigation against them would continue and the ICC would have jurisdiction to continue investigating them and issue warrants of arrest against them, no? So we expect that very soon there would be additional warrants of arrest that would be issued.
How about for other countries who are still members of the ICC? Parang kung meron ng incidents of possible incidents of crimes against humanity, basta magkaroon ng examination, maaari na rin itong masaklaw ng kanilang jurisdiction.
Tama yan, Gretchen, no? Talagang nararapat lang kasi ang mangyayari yan, if a country where crimes against humanity or war crimes or crimes of aggression are prevalent, no? And it withdraws, it will defeat the very purpose of the ICC from having jurisdiction over these crimes, no? So talagang dapat lang talaga na ganun yung yung maging ruling kasi otherwise magiging inutil yung ICC dahil magwi-withdraw lang yung country, wala nang jurisdiction yung ICC.
Oh, bago sila imbestigahan, magiging recourse na yon. Okay, this prevents that. To add to that, the decision also states that the pre-trial chamber judges rule that Article 127 of the Rome Statute must be read in a way that balances the right of a state to withdraw and the risk of a state using its right to withdraw to shield persons from the jurisdiction of the court. Kung matatandaan nung 2023, ito ay last minute pala na argument nung Duterte camp, dun nga sa Article 127 to state nga that the Article 127 should not be interpreted to extend the office of the prosecutor's power to request an investigation even after a state had withdrawn. So mukhang, and the appeals chamber had a narrow vote on that, no? So, so finally we have a decision on that. But when it comes now to the case of the former president, 3 counts of murder, does this mean that the issue of jurisdiction is finally settled? Wala na po tayong makikitang hahain po regarding this issue.
Pwede pa rin i-appeal ito sa appeals chamber, Gretchen. No? So we anticipate that the defense is going to appeal this decision. Although unanimous ito and talagang sobrang hinimay talaga, no, ng korte yung bawat anggulo ng aspeto ng jurisdiction. So I think it's going to be very difficult for the defense to argue against the logic and the reason that were cited by the pre-trial chamber.
On another point, there was a decision also on the primary prosecutor, that is Karim Khan, over a possible conflict of interest. That was the argument of the Duterte camp, which effectively the ICC decided to disqualify him from this case. What does that mean? Does that weaken somehow the prosecution? And I guess I need to understand also how is his sexual misconduct case related to that conflict of interest brought forth by the Duterte camp?
Mr. Karim Khan, the ICC prosecutor, is not actually part of the team that was constituted to do the investigation and the prosecution against Mr. Duterte and his co-perpetrators. No? There is a team headed by a deputy prosecutor, Mr. Mameniang, no, and there are senior and junior prosecutors who constitute the team. No? So si Mr. Khan has not been involved in this team. So talagang even with his disqualification, there's nothing to worry about because there's really a team devoted to it, no, to the case, no. As I said in other interviews, kumbaga pwede nating ihalin tulad yung position ni Mr. Khan to being the DOJ secretary, no? Then meron siyang mga prosecutors who really handle the actual investigation. Hindi naman si DOJ secretary yung nag-investigate, no? So kahit na halimbawa mawala, masuspend yung DOJ secretary natin, continuing pa rin yung trabaho na ginagawa ng team, yung team of prosecutors devoted to the particular case.
Pero bakit po kaya conflict of interest yung argument ng Duterte camp?
Kasi noong 2018, nung hindi pa prosecutor si Mr. Karim Khan, sumama siya sa grupo ng lawyers and representing, I think, some of the victims, no? And they were appealing to the ICC prosecutor then to apply for authority to formally conduct preliminary investigation, no? So yun yung premise ng sinasabi ng defense na meron na siyang conflict, meron na siyang bias, no? And nilito naman ng pre-trial chamber na it found no actual bias, no, that was committed by Mr. Khan. Pero in order to avoid the appearance of bias, no, dinisqualify siya, no, para appearance of bias. So yung appearance of bias lang ang gustong tanggalin ng pre-trial chamber. So talagang walang epekto sa ongoing investigation and walang epekto sa nangyari ng investigation, Gretchen.
And how about the sexual misconduct allegations? How did that play a factor into this disqualification?
That actually is personal to Mr. Khan, no? And as I said, it affects his position as the chief prosecutor. And it has nothing to do with the Philippine case because hindi nga siya involved sa investigation over the Philippines. So talagang there's no effect at all.
I guess the defense only argued based on his moral character, and that his notification should not be taken as gospel. Yun po yung ang kanilang sinabi, no? Another major decision that was released, no, kasi magkakasunod po ito over the past weeks, yung interim release request has been denied based on three grounds: to ensure appearance at trial, to prevent him from obstructing investigation, and to stop potential commission of further crimes. Has this issue also been settled? At ano po ang sinasabi po nito sa mga kasi public pronouncement na banggit po dito yung tama po ba na yung isa sa mga statement ni Vice President Duterte ay na-cite as reason to deny that request?
Tama yan, Gretchen, no? Talagang kinonsider ng pre-trial chamber yung lahat ng statements ng kanyang mga kamag-anak, ng mga anak niya, no? After they visited the former president. And sinasabi nila na he's well, na he's able to comment on even their love life and on events happening in the Philippines, on the past and present and future of the Philippines. So talagang kinonsider as strong evidence lahat ng mga to, no? To say na talagang okay naman si former president. No? In fact, in addition to these statements, Gretchen, kinonsider din yung final medical records that were submitted by the defense. No? Apparently, these are findings of doctors who agree with the defense assessment na kailangan mabigyan ng interim release because of his medical condition. Pero sinabi ng ICC na even after going thoroughly on these medical findings, they are not convinced that Mr. Duterte is entitled to interim release, no? Kaya ang sinasabi ko rin in some of the interviews na these medical findings, I assume, are the same medical findings that the defense submitted in support of its prayer for the dismissal of the case on grounds of the mental unfitness of Mr. Duterte. No? So, I'm very hopeful na kung sinabi na ng ICC chamber na hindi sufficient itong medical findings submitted by the defense to support interim release, I would suppose na sasabihin din na it's not sufficient to say that Mr. Duterte is medically unfit. No, we know that there's still a panel of experts appointed by the judges, pero in the normal course of things, Gretchen, yung ebidensya na present ng defense would be the strongest evidence, no, to support the prayers of the motion or the submissions of the defense, no. Dahil yung ebidensya yan ay talagang may these are cherry picked, no, in support of the defense position, no. Kung yung ebidensya ng defense itself hindi na sufficiente, di mas lalo na yung ebidensya that's going to be presented by the panel of independent experts, no? Dahil talagang mas malakas, you would expect, yung ebidensya yung present ng defense kumpara dun sa may findings ng panel of
Kumbaga, very specific and down to the detail. We'll wait for the updates from the three doctors assigned to that, forensic psychiatrist and neuropsychologist, tama po ba, geriatric and behavioral neurologist. Are you happy with the choice of doctors to assess the former president's health?
Well, the identities and their qualifications are actually redacted. They're made confidential. But I have no reason to doubt that the ICC pre-trial chamber chose the most competent medical experts who will advise the judges on the actual medical condition of Mr. Duterte.
And finally, ano po inaantay po natin, no, at aasahan po natin before the year ends?
Actually, Gretchen, isa na lang yung pre-trial issue na nakabinbin, no, which is the mental fitness of Mr. Duterte. Once this is resolved, matutuloy na yung confirmation of charges, no? And sa timeline ng ICC, yung panel of experts are supposed to submit their findings by October 31. That's practically 1 week from now. After that, by November 10, magkokomento yung prosecution and yung public counsel for victims. And then after November 10, magde-decide na yung pre-trial chamber on the mental fitness of Mr. Duterte. And kapag nag-decide sila na mentally fit siya, i-schedule nila yan for confirmation charges. I would expect early next year na.
All right. Okay, maraming salamat sa iyo. Thank you for helping us understand the latest decision of the ICC on jurisdiction, reaffirming that jurisdiction over this case. We have Attorney Joel Butuyan, ICC-accredited lawyer and President of Center Law. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Gretchen.